What do you do when you have a new sketchbook? I'm gonna teach you a few little tricks when I break in a new sketchbook for myself. Let's go! One of the very first thing that I do, in this case to a Bao Hong cellulose sketchbook, is to put in your name and your contact, your email and your phone numbers, so that in case you lose it, you can have at least somebody pick it up and then maybe give you a call or drop you a note. Chances of you getting it back is pretty high if you have a contact. If you don't have contact written in there, then of course you most likely won't get it back in the case of losing it. One last tip is to write it in waterproof ink so that in case it gets splashed by rain, you don't have a problem. Feel the texture of the pages. You can see one side is smoother and the other one has texture in it. Sometimes sketchbooks just come weird like that. I wish they make it the same both sides. Now this is one of the things I do with sketchbooks that I get for the first time, especially when I'm not familiar with the paper and the surface of the sketchbook. What I do is actually I turn to the very last page and I actually doodle on it, intentionally destroying a page if you like. Psychologically, the book or the sketchbook is not perfect in quote anymore, no pun intended, for those of you who knows about the perfect sketchbook. The idea is to break it in and to have some kind of a doodle at the back. You know that your sketchbook is no longer perfect, and psychologically you can just do whatever you want with it without having any reservation or holding back. I will take my favorite palette of the time. In this case right now I have this palette, the small palette I'm using. I draw the number of boxes according to the palette and I just throw in the colors onto the paper. Part of it is to see how the colors will react on the surface, and part of it is to see how bright the colors turn up on this sketchbook. It's also good practice to kind of name the colors, because over time as you change your color in and out, you kind of forget what colors is on your palette. I have quite a standard setup these days, so on the far right I will have my cadmium yellow, and then the rest of the colors on the left hand side to that would be transparent color. So it'll be lemon yellow, it'll be queen rose, it'll be cobalt, it'll be green gold, quinacridone gold, and then I have Naples yellow, and then cobalt teal blue. At the bottom I have opera, which is a color from Holbein. It's slightly fugitive, but I don't mind because I really love the color, the hue. And next to it I have cadmium scarlet. Most of my colors are Daniel Smith anyway. The next color would be cerulean blue. The next two colors at the bottom, one would be moon glow, beautiful, tree pigment purple, violet if you like, and then I have neutral tint. In the second row, I have cadmium orange, I have new gamboshed, I have permanent alizarin crimson, I have French ultramarine, I have phthalo green blue shade, I have quinacridone burnt orange, I have carbozel violet, and the final color is lunar black, which is really a favorite color that I usually keep on my palette. As I said, the texture on both sides of the same sheet of paper is different. This side is a little bit more rough, so you may even want to do the same thing or doodle on it. The other thing I want to do is to write on it and see whether I have any issue with my ink, especially if the paper it's kind of not suitable for fountain pen ink. It may even spread slightly. In this case it does spread somewhat. I think I'm alright with that, not too bad in terms of how the ink spread. But there you go, just break it in. Right, your new sketchbook. Another thing I do with my new sketchbook is to break in a piece. Basically, just hammer in a sketch, just go loose and try to understand how the surface of the sketchbook work with my pen and ink and watercolor and so on and so forth. In this case, I'm just drawing simply from a photograph. You can see it on my iPad to the right. There's a bit of the photograph showing, and I'm just basically just trying to enjoy the line and see whether I enjoy the sketchbook as much, and how it reacts to my lines, right? In this case, actually, the sketchbook is not too bad. It's quite smooth, easy gliding. I find that I could actually move my fountain pen quite easily on the surface of the sketchbook, and it produced reasonably good lines and not too bad. And it doesn't really, it really, it's all about how I feel about the experience. And I think so far this sketchbook Bao Hong, which is made in China, and a lot of my sketcher friends in Singapore here uses it, and some of them swear by it. So I've meant to try it for a long time. This is the first time I'm sketching on this particular version of the sketchbook, and I think it's pretty good. I must say that I still prefer my Stillman and Burn, but it is not too bad. I could make do with it. I could throw it into my bag, and I can take it out for a walk one of these days. I really don't mind. I think it's okay. It's good enough. And I suppose if you're a beginner and you trying to save up a bit on your sketchbook, and yet you want almost a artist quality sort of sketchbook, this might be a good solution in that sense. Finalizing the sketch, I suppose just doing a bit more of the details, looking at where I might just put in a bit of texture. I kind of use the fountain pen as a dip pen because it has a very small ink holder, so just too troublesome to refill too often, and it's a very thirsty pen, so I rather just use it as a dip pen. So with that, I put in the date, I put in the Alexandra Road, which is where I took the photograph, my name, and here we go. We're gonna start splashing some watercolor to see how it reacts to my watercolor, right? So I prepare my palette. I am just going to pretty much aimlessly throw in colors, if you like, some blues for the sky, and warm up closer to the horizon, clean off the palette a little bit so that I can get some clean red, quinacridone rose. It's not going to be reality here, it's just going to be imagination, if you like. Dropping in, don't really intend to put colors everywhere. Warming up some of the places where it's near the horizon with quin burnt orange, a bit of green. That's green gold. It's a bit too ghastly, too bright. Drop in a bit of phthalo just to tone down with a darker green, if you like. Mix a little bit more with the brown to bring the color closer to what earth color would be. And basically just playing with it, seeing how it reacts to my brush, and seeing how it reacts to the sketchbook, in terms of the colors that I have. And I think overall the experience is not too bad. I think this sketchbook is worth putting as one of those that I'll use. Maybe not the most regular, but I think it is going to be one of the collection, I suppose, in the arsenal. In goes the bag. So that's how you break in a new sketchbook. I hope it's helped you in some ways, not to get too stressed with a new sketchbook, but rather just break it in by testing it, by swatching your colors and enjoying it as you would any of your new toy. So this is Whee Teck, out. Stay safe wherever you are. Bye.